I think one of the panelists said that y'all made a shoe. Uh, what would you say is the hardest part, between knowing what the audience wants and creating that story for yourself?
Good question.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, like, you got to make a shoe that looks good to you first. It's a little bit interesting in this scenario. This entire process has been interesting because you have to get your head potentially out of the thought that you're going to be wearing this. So that fundamentally changes how you think about the shoe, right? Like, materials don't really matter. Layering doesn't really matter. Comfort doesn't really matter. Weight doesn't matter. How it fits in your fit potentially may not even matter. So it makes you think about it in a lot of different ways. At the end of the day, when I did my submission, I had a color scheme that I knew I wanted. It's going to be gray. It was going to have like design language and everything kind of branched from there. I'm very minimalistic, gray kind of guy. So at the end of the day, my shoe is not going to be loud, and I knew that if you're looking for a loud shoe, that's maybe someone else's instead. No, I'm just saying. But yeah, I think it's definitely important to figure out what your angle is, and you gotta love it, because if this all goes swimmingly and that swoosh kicks off and everyone's a huge fan, like, the shoe's forever. Like, this shoe lasts forever until the aliens come, and
Yeah, I think I touched on it a bit earlier. Like going into the sessions, and like I said, they really are kind of taking some of their physical processes and showing us how they create shoe, but it's completely different. Like we were literally talking about earlier, like the bottom of your shoe could be water, like the inside could be lava. Like materials don't really play a factor, even though you guys asked us for materials, like when we started, right? So I think for me, it was hard being a sneakerhead because I'm thinking about general public, right? Like, we love a suede here, we like a comfort, so we like gold aglets. I'm thinking about all those different little things. But then, like I said, Bryce and the team really had to kind of draw me back and be like, the name of this challenge was Your Force One. So at the end of the day, we need to see, little components, little Easter eggs of city, across the shoe. And I think, just translating to the entire space, that's ultimately what this space is all about. Like when you create something in it, when you buy something in it, it's personal to you. And that is a very different feeling than us rocking the same shoe that we, all purchase physically. So it is a hard process, honestly.
How you doing? My name is Van. I have a question. As far as I'm an up and coming brand, like I do social media, like where I interview athletes, but I want to do something giving back to the community as far as like kids that go back to school. How would I go by tapping in with Nike as far as like getting shoes to be able to give back to the community, like as far as Air Force Ones and stuff? Because I realize like unless you're not a high profile influencer or a store or athlete, you can't really get that resource. Like you either gotta raise the money yourself to go buy it. But I want to do something for my city, where I'm born and raised from the north to the south side of Houston. So how could I be able to do that?
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So no, that is a really great question, and that's a valid one. I would say let's connect afterwards because I don't have the answer. Like I would say, I mean, and that's just me being real. Like I don't control the budget. But I do want to tap in with like a lot of you guys doing a lot of things and putting on for your city. So help me to help you, and I will try to elevate. And that is a very hard company to get things through, but we're gonna try our hardest because I think what you're doing is pretty good. To be honest, I hope that's like a really good answer.
Yeah, it's
No.
good enough because I was always asking that question because it just seems like because I have friends that play in the league and stuff, and they're like, well, we can try to like use our Nike Connects, but it's like, what as a company that's starting up, what do we have to do to really like strike out interest to basically be like, all right, we're willing enough to like endorse y'all or do something like that? Because it just seems like you're not a rapper, or you're not an influencer, or athlete or something like that. It's so hard to do.
I think it is hard in that aspect, but like what here's the difference between like Nike Virtual Studios. We kind of run as like a startup, and what we call Big Nike, they're the ones like controlling like the brand deals, the marketing, stuff like that. So our venture into like giving the creator and the community the power, it's really just starting. Like it started with our portion, it started with your portion. And this is like step point one of like this journey that we're trying to get into. I think what you're thinking is like way far ahead, but I would not mind connecting and staying in lockstep with you so that when we are at a point where we could do something like that, that you know your name comes to the top, or I can at least elevate it. I can't even see your face because the light's there, so I'm hoping you at least smile and not give me the finger or something. So we'll see. Anybody else? We got one over here.
Hi, how are you guys?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful, thank you. So the first question is, how can I take more wins? Just joking, just wanted to make you guys laugh. I really wanted to know, how do you make sure that the shoe is successful in this day and age of fast fashion and things are constantly moving during the creative process? So from conceptualizing to putting it on pen and paper to actual production to shipping it out, etc. How do you make sure that the shoe is successful? And then on the back end, after the release happens, when the shoe is not successful,
For the podcast.
what is that thought
Only for the
process
podcast.
like, or how do how do you guys evaluate, etc.? Just thank you.
So in the space of time, Swoosh, production is never an issue. It's always
Yeah.
available, right? So it's not so much of a concern. Also, this space allows us to kind of flip the norm. That's sort of the idea of fast fashion is it doesn't play such a deep role in the space.
Oh, thank you.
The people who create this creators, it's 100% their story. So it's driven by how deeply they can connect the
Thank you.
audience to that story rather than what's the colorway, what's the texture materials and things like that. So it changes our perspective on products in the future. And so it allows you the metrics for how we define success,
Making me hungry.
right? And to think about it, part of this too is, a marketplace. And once we release these things, it's how you train, build, and collect. We want you to build these things. And we also want you to perhaps navigate training or anything like that that allows you to engage your community members. Maybe you're looking for a specific utility. So it forces us to think differently in this space. Does that make sense?
I'd like to chime in because Sid and I were talking about this when we were meeting each other earlier. For the four of us who have kind of been blessed with this opportunity, like, we may or may not be underestimating kind of what a life-changing moment this fundamentally can be for the four of us. If any of you guys had the opportunity to sit in the seat, or if any of us were getting ready to launch the Sean Waterspoon Air Force at that time, like, you have the opportunity to shape the launch of your brand and your shoe. Sid, myself, the other two, there's not a playbook for this, which is interesting, but we're literally sitting at an inflection point in our lives where when we know this launch date of this shoe, realistically, if we're smart, like a brand would do, like a fashion house would do, we're grinding and thinking about what is that promotional plan. Even without Nike's help, how do the four of us tell the best story that we can and connect as many people as we can about our shoe? Hopefully get Nike on board. Since support us, I'm sure they will, but
How are they
that's what's
getting
going to make
what they're reading off
these
right now?
fundamentally different.
Somebody's typing it.
It's a whole new playground.
That's the only way.
So with that being said, I think we have time for one more, and it's right behind you.
What's going on, everybody? My name is Adrian. I'm from Houston. Miami, definitely a sneakerhead.
Except you don't move in those Jordan 3s.
I'm way moving in three. Okay, so let's it's NFT, right? Not a physical, but completely digital. The only difference from the guys that I know that have stepped into the NFT world is that you're just owning time. One athlete that I personally know actually said it, he's like, why does someone want to own my moment on a basketball court? It doesn't make sense. But I think the dot swoosh concept, and correct me if I'm wrong, is your creation of your own story that transcends into a digital world. But my bottom line back in is, will it ever be a physical?
Mm.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, stay tuned because I can see that happening. Is that fair? But I also think that
That's fair.
they want to see the value in not only the digital, but the utility of some. So it's not jewelry, whatever you think it is. I'm not going back. So
It's,
you're not
it's all
getting
good.
the newest deliveries, the intimate experience. You get to meet Michael Jordan. You get to meet your own Michael Jordan meet. I don't know. So I don't want to say like what it is, but just
Mhm. You
but
sound
just
like
anything. So
me.
go ahead. Now you got the microphone back.
No, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot or anything, but I'm just thinking, I think everybody's thinking the same thing, I would hope. But we always want something physical. We always want to touch, get, smell, this and things like that, right? So, with that being said, David created a shoe, and Sydney created a shoe, right? But on the digital platform, I would want that shoe outside the digital world. Does that make sense? I'm not naturally a gamer. I got kids, but I'm not a gamer. But I may want that shoe not just to collect the actual shoe, not to wear it, just to collect it. Anything else in my size. So that's what I'm asking. Anything that's being created through Dot Swoosh, would it ever be accessible to us in a physical?
Yes, there's always opportunities. But I think, yeah.
Mhm.
But I think I want to be mindful too is as the digital space becomes much more integral and integrated into our daily lives, how we show up in the digital space sometimes matters as equally as how we show up in the physical space. So how I'm dressed today, I might want to show up exactly like that. Maybe I want to be a completely different person. And so it allows you to do that as these new
Mhm.
technologies come out, as AI starts to get integrated in all these tools. What does that look like? And so it matters a little bit more. Maybe, what does your avatar look like, right? Like maybe you want to have the shoes that you're wearing on now carry over into those spaces, or
Mhm.
maybe it's something that you pass on to your children. There's so much opportunity there. So sometimes it's hard to get past the physical. There's certainly always going to be opportunities for us to release things, and maybe there's a match one to one. So you see your shoe, your Air Force One here, and it shows up in the physical space too. Absolutely. But also, I would challenge you, of course, to think a little bit outside the box and how these products start to show up in your digital space.
And even if you don't want to own, like we want to give a power back to you guys to create. Like even if you're not a designer, you want to see your ideas. We're about the storytelling, and I think from Sid and David's submission, we got to know a little bit more about them and the underlying. If you go nothing else from this, it's like we want you to build the next 50 years of Nike because of course the other ones we are
Mhm.
but the future is you guys. Like Nike is just a brand. We don't move without you. Like I'm not looking, but I'm hoping everybody in here is like rocking Nike shoes. I'm looking at the last session. Somebody gonna move out. It's right in front row. But it's up to you guys. Right? So just think a little bit beyond like owning a physical product or even
I was
owning
like,
a digital product, but how you can
savage.
create or if you want to flip it. There's just so much that I think we're all still learning and we want you guys to learn with us. And hopefully
Mhm.
that makes sense. Things happen. Excellent. So we appreciate everybody. Oh, we have one more. Oh, yeah. Let's get one more question because he has his
Mhm.
microphone on now. And thank you guys so much for coming. That was actually a really good question. Thank you guys so much for coming, for chopping up with us. I think we have food that's ready. Thank you, okay. But thank you guys for showing up for us, and feel free to like chop it up with us afterwards. You guys.
Yep.